Joburg Water says dry taps will continue in some parts of the city this weekend as most reservoirs remain constrained. However, the utility says their systems are showing signs of recovery. Increased consumption and constant power cuts are affecting reservoirs, leading to a shortage of water and a lot of frustrations for Joburg residents. The utilities officials gave an update earlier on the city's plans to mitigate the crisis. Our reporter Hloni Mthimkulu has been following that story and joins us now for more. Hloni, sorry. So you attended the briefing. A lot of frustrated Joburg residents, and understandably on what today was one of the hottest days so far in summer, over 30 degrees. What was the summary of that briefing?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting if, obviously after the heat wave over the weekend broke and then there were cooler temperatures, and now, maybe the temperatures are increasing. They are saying that because of the decreased temperatures at the beginning of the week and the throttling that they've done, that's helped them regain some of the reservoirs. So the average reservoir storage is generally about 60% that they're targeting for normal water supply, and at the moment on average it's at about 36%. Some of those are much lower than that, and obviously others are higher, but the general average is about 30%. And so because of this change or these changes that they've implemented and the decrease in the temperatures, there has been some improvement, but it's very minimal. So you're having like 1%, 2%, 3% increases in the storage. And so it's not really making much of a difference. But anyway, so they say that there are some improvements. They are encouraged by those improvements. They're hoping that it will continue. But they can't say when that will, when we will see a return to normality. They've also have some mitigation plans that they're thinking up and that they're busy planning around, a retention sump that they were talking about, which acts as a buffer to the pumps, and then they will also recommission a reservoir. And so there are plans around that, but I think they don't have deadlines and they can't say when this will happen, and they can't say that at the moment. And I think that will be the frustration for residents, that there are all these plans and we're hearing all of these things, but we keep saying that ultimately people still don't have water. But there were explanations that were given. They did commit to giving more updates, and so hopefully over the next few weeks, when all of these plans kind of work themselves out, or they reveal what's going on, we will have a better understanding of what is going on, and hopefully there'll be an improvement also.
So I think that the majority of the frustration for some residents who have not had water for some of them more than 50 days now.
7 weeks, yeah.
On top of the fact that they will not have water this weekend either, is the fact that there's been this back and forth about who ultimately is accountable. Has there been any clarity on that?
Yeah. So this, I think, is the interesting thing, or because initially this week when we've tried to get kind of comment understanding from either Joburg Water or Rand Water, because residents are saying, we've heard from Joburg Water, we've heard from Rand Water, we weren't quite kind of understanding really, what was going on. But Joburg Water today said that as an entity of the city of Joburg, that it's council that must decide or must take responsibility for all of this. They do admit that this is a crisis and it's inconvenienced people, but in terms of, it's not really them that takes responsibility, because they work under the city of Johannesburg and the council. So no one in terms of taking responsibility on that side will be doing that. But I guess as a city of Joburg, a decision to make in terms of what happens now. I don't know if that will help residents, or that does help residents at the end of the day, because
where does the buck ultimately stop? Because the council reports to, municipal, provincial. It's just never going to get to a point where residents can look someone in the eye and say, you are the one who is ultimately in charge of fixing this for us.
And I don't know, I guess this is how things are worked out, but generally, that's what we are hearing. But let's hear more from the COO of Joburg Water in terms of how they work out the accountability for where we are at the moment.
Communities are inconvenienced. I cannot prescribe what you call it, but if it's termed a crisis because our stakeholders are inconvenienced, it's an inconvenience to everybody. So maybe we'll have to check the dictionary of what a crisis is, but for now, it's an inconvenience to everybody. People are inconvenienced, and then we are not proud of the situation. Hence, we do all we can to make sure that we bring normality to the operations and the systems. The current inconvenience is felt by the residents of the city of Johannesburg. And then Johannesburg Water is an entity of the city of Johannesburg. So that's a shareholder. So Council of the city of Joburg is responsible or oversees the functioning and the business of Johannesburg Water. So by virtue of that, Council takes responsibility of what is happening, because the population within the city of Joburg is inconvenienced by disruptions in water supply. So it can only be the accounting authority who becomes accountable for a particular situation at a point in time.
Hloni, accountability is crucial because that's part of fixing a broken system. But I think for residents, the first priority must obviously be getting water back. We've seen so many elderly residents who they're unable to go to the water tankers to carry large buckets of water. We've seen people in serious distress. Are there any timelines for when those who have gone without for so long can expect their water to run again?
I think generally, in short, no. And this is what we were told today, that I can't say for sure whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, whatever it is, that this will return to normality. So that's the short answer. But we do know that the areas that are supplied around Crown Gardens, they should have a decent weekend of water supply. But other areas like South Hills, like Brixton, where we've been, those, from what we have been told, things are not looking good for them. So, no.
And is there adequate provision for water tankers to visit these areas regularly? Because that's also been an issue of contention.
It is, and today, you know, there's so much skepticism around water tankers and the water trucks that go around as well. So the water tankers, so many people are saying that they've been sick from drinking the water straight out of the water tanker, and so they have to boil it first because there have been issues. Joburg Water was asked about this today, and they say no, their water is clean. So now you're having residents are saying this one
thing. Are their tankers clean?
All right.
You know?
Look, I don't know. But also around the trucks that go around, residents are saying it's not as consistent as they would like. I mean, when we were in Brixton on Monday, the water tanker arrived, I think, at around just after midday, actually, from the morning. So I think there might have been one in the morning, I'm not sure. But I know that in the time that we were there from around, I think, 7 or 8, there wasn't a water tanker, a truck, and it only arrived at midday. So I don't know what the frequency is. These are meant to be helping residents, but if they're not coming frequently, you know, then, and you have to time it, and you don't know when it's coming. When it does come, then you have to, we heard someone today say, when the trucks come, and this is an elderly lady, you must see us running around and going to get there. We have to get a trolley from wherever and go, and someone has to carry this water for us.
Obviously, when you're queuing in the sun and you're not guaranteed to get water if the water runs out and you're behind in the queue, it's a desperate situation for residents. We hope that COJ and the various water authorities can find some kind of a solution shortly. Thank you so much for that update. That was Hloni Mthimkulu.